Something is happening in America right now, and most people won't notice it until it's too late. A silent wave of new millionaires is stepping into the real estate market, not Wall Street legends, not old money families, but people who got rich from something you use every single day, artificial intelligence. And here's the part nobody is talking about. They are not just buying houses. They are reshaping entire cities. While everyday families are struggling with rising prices, these AI-driven investors are moving quietly, aggressively, and strategically, buying land, homes, and buildings before most people even realize what's happening. So the real question is, are we witnessing the biggest real estate shift of our lifetime, or just the beginning of something far more powerful? Because by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why housing prices are moving the way they are, and who is really behind it. And trust me, once you see it, you won't look at the housing market the same way again. If you're watching this video, you're already ahead of most people, because this channel breaks down real economic truths that others don't explain clearly. So subscribe right now. I'm telling you honestly. I will be uploading more videos on this exact topic, AI wealth, real estate changes, and the hidden forces shaping your money and future. So don't miss it. This channel is not for everyone. It's only for people who actually want to understand what's really going on. So go ahead and subscribe, and stay ahead before everyone else catches on. Something is quietly happening in America, and most people have no idea it is going on. Right now, while you are going about your daily life, a brand new group of very wealthy people is entering the real estate market in a big way. And these are not the old school investors you might be thinking of. These are not the Wall Street hedge fund guys in fancy suits, and they are not the house flippers you see on television. These are people who made their money through something most folks still do not fully understand, artificial intelligence. The tech boom created a wave of millionaires and billionaires unlike anything we have seen since the dot-com era, and those people are now doing what every wealthy person eventually does. They are buying land. They are buying homes. They are buying buildings. And the scale of it is starting to turn heads. So today we are going to break this down in plain, simple language. We are going to talk about who these AI millionaires actually are, why real estate is calling their name right now, what it means for the housing market, and what regular American families need to understand about all of this. This is not a story about the distant future. This is happening today, in cities and neighborhoods across this country. Let us start at the beginning. The AI industry has exploded over the last several years. Companies building artificial intelligence tools, software, and services have raised billions and billions of dollars from investors. When those companies grow, get acquired, or go public, the people who worked there early on, the engineers, the founders, the executives, walk away with life-changing amounts of money. We are talking about people in their 30s and 40s, sometimes even younger, suddenly holding tens of millions or even hundreds of millions of dollars in liquid cash. Now, what do you do when you suddenly have that kind of money? You start thinking very carefully about where to put it. And for a lot of these AI world millionaires, real estate is sitting right at the top of that list. Here is why. Real estate has something that stocks and crypto and even gold do not always have. It is real. You can touch it. You can stand on it. You can walk through it. And for a lot of people who have made their money in the very abstract, very digital world of software and algorithms, there is a deep appeal in owning something physical. Something that is not going to disappear overnight if a server crashes or a market shifts. But it goes beyond just the emotional appeal. There are very practical financial reasons why real estate makes sense for people with serious money. First, it holds its value over time. Despite short-term dips and corrections, the long-term trend of real estate in America has almost always been upward. Land is finite. They are not making more of it. And as the population grows and cities expand, demand for property tends to stay strong. Second, real estate generates income. If you own rental properties, you get a check every month. You are not just sitting on an asset and hoping it goes up in value. You are receiving actual cash flow. For someone who has just sold their startup or cashed out their stock options, that kind of steady income is very attractive. Third, there are significant tax advantages to owning real estate that wealthy people are well aware of. You can depreciate property, deduct expenses, and use strategies like 1031 exchanges to defer taxes when you sell one property and buy another. The tax code in America has long been generous to real estate investors, and AI millionaires, just like any other smart wealthy person, are absolutely aware of that. Now, the question is, where are they buying? The answer might surprise you, because it is not just the places you would expect. Yes, some of this activity is happening in the usual expensive markets like San Francisco, New York, and Miami. But a huge amount of it is also flowing into second-tier cities and even smaller communities that many people would not think of as prime investment territory. Places like Austin, Texas, have been transformed. Nashville, Tennessee, has seen extraordinary price appreciation. Boise, Idaho, Scottsdale, Arizona, and parts of Florida and the Carolinas have all been flooded with investor capital. These AI millionaires are not just buying in Silicon Valley because they already know Silicon Valley. They are spreading out, looking for markets where prices are still relatively reasonable and where growth potential is high. And here is where it gets interesting. A lot of these buyers are not just purchasing properties one at a time the way a regular person might. They are working through funds and investment vehicles that allow them to buy dozens or even hundreds of properties at once. They have access to property data, market analytics, and economic modeling tools that would have seemed like science fiction just 10 years ago. And some of them are using, you guessed it, artificial intelligence to identify which neighborhoods are about to go up in value before the rest of the market even notices. Think about what that means for a moment. You have people who built AI tools for a living now using those same kinds of tools to get ahead in the housing market. They can analyze permit data, school district performance, migration patterns, job growth projections, infrastructure spending plans, and dozens of other variables all at once. They can identify a street in a city that is about to become desirable before any local real estate agent has even picked up on the trend. That is a powerful advantage, and it is one that ordinary buyers simply do not have. This brings us to a question that a lot of people are asking right now, and it is an uncomfortable one. Is this good or bad for the average American family? The honest answer is complicated. On one hand, investment in real estate can be positive. When investors buy rundown properties and renovate them, they improve the neighborhood. When they develop new housing in underserved areas, they add supply to markets that desperately need it. When they pour money into commercial real estate, they sometimes create the economic conditions that bring jobs and businesses to struggling communities. But on the other hand, when large amounts of outside capital flood into a housing market, it tends to push prices up. And when prices go up, it becomes harder for first-time buyers to get into the market. It becomes harder for working families to afford homes in neighborhoods they have lived in for years. In some cases, long-time renters find themselves priced out as landlords renovate properties and raise rents to match the new market reality. This is not a new tension. Real estate has always attracted wealthy investors, and the debate about how that affects local communities has been going on for decades. But the scale and the speed of what is happening now feels different to a lot of people. The AI boom created wealth faster than almost any previous technology wave, and all of that newly created wealth has to go somewhere. One thing that is becoming clear is that certain American cities are bearing the brunt of this more than others. If you live in a city that has become a tech hub, or a city that AI professionals are moving to, you are probably already feeling some version of this in your own housing market. Your neighbor's house sold for way more than you expected. A property down the street got snapped up by an out-of-state buyer before any local even had a chance to look at it. Rents in your area have jumped in the past couple of years. These are not coincidences. They are the visible effects of a shift that is happening at a larger scale. Now let us talk about the commercial real estate side of this story, because it is not just homes we are talking about. AI millionaires are also buying office buildings, warehouses, industrial spaces, and data centers. That last one is particularly significant. Data centers are the physical infrastructure that makes artificial intelligence work. All of those powerful computers running all of those AI programs have to live somewhere. And investors who understand the AI industry know that demand for data center space is going to keep growing for the foreseeable future. Buying that kind of real estate right now looks like a very smart long-term bet. Warehouses and industrial properties are another hot area. The explosion of online shopping, combined with the need for efficient supply chains, has made industrial real estate one of the strongest performing sectors in the entire market. And wealthy investors from the tech world, many of whom made their money building the very software that powers e-commerce and logistics companies, are putting serious money into industrial properties across the country. There is also something happening in the luxury residential market that deserves attention. High-end properties in desirable locations have always attracted wealthy buyers. But the nature of who is buying luxury real estate is shifting. Traditionally, you might have seen entertainment industry executives, old money families, or finance professionals dominating that market. Now, AI entrepreneurs and executives are a growing presence. And because the AI world is concentrated in particular geographic areas, this is creating unusual dynamics in specific local markets. One thing worth noting is that not all of these buyers are American. The AI industry is global, and significant wealth has been created in other countries as well. Wealthy tech investors from other parts of the world, particularly Asia, have long been active in the American real estate market. The AI boom has added another layer of international buying interest, particularly in gateway cities and top-tier university towns. So what does all of this mean for the future of the American housing market? Most experts believe that real estate prices will continue to be supported by strong demand from high-net-worth investors even if the broader economy goes through rough patches. The sheer volume of wealth created by the AI sector over the past 5 years, combined with the ongoing desire of wealthy people to hold physical assets, suggests that this buying activity is not going to disappear anytime soon. But there are also factors that could change the picture. Interest rates play a huge role in real estate. Even very wealthy buyers think carefully about borrowing costs, and if rates stay high for a long time, it could slow down some of the investment activity we have been discussing. Regulatory changes at the state and local level could also affect how much investor buying is allowed or incentivized. Some cities and states are already looking at rules that would limit how many homes investment funds can own in certain neighborhoods. There is also the question of what happens to the AI industry itself. Tech booms and busts are a familiar cycle in American economic history. The dot-com crash of the early 2000s wiped out a lot of paper wealth and took a chunk out of certain real estate markets as a result. If the AI industry goes through a significant correction or shakeout, some of the buying pressure on the housing market could ease. But given how deeply AI is now embedded in virtually every major industry, most analysts believe the long-term trajectory of the AI sector points upward, which means the wealth it creates is likely to keep flowing. What should ordinary Americans take away from all of this? A few things. First, understanding the forces that shape your local housing market matters more than ever. If you live in or near a city where tech and AI investment is concentrated, you are operating in a different real estate environment than someone in a region with less of that activity. Knowing that can help you make better decisions about when and where to buy. Second, the rise of AI-powered investing tools is not limited to billionaires. Increasingly, there are consumer-facing platforms and services that use data and analytics to help everyday buyers and investors make smarter real estate decisions. That gap in information advantage between the very wealthy and everyone else is still significant, but it is narrowing. Third, if you own a home already, you may actually be benefiting from some of this activity. Rising property values are not just good news for large investors. They build wealth for ordinary homeowners too. The challenge is when those rising prices make it hard for the next generation to buy in, or when renters get squeezed out of neighborhoods they have called home for years. Those are real and serious problems that communities and policymakers need to grapple with. And finally, this story is a reminder of something that has always been true in America. The people who understand where the economy is going next tend to move first. The AI millionaires buying real estate right now are not doing it randomly. They are making calculated bets based on their understanding of technology, demographics, and economic trends. You do not have to be a millionaire to pay attention to those same trends and think about how they might affect your own financial decisions. The information is out there. The question is whether you are paying attention to it. America's real estate map is being redrawn, in part by a new generation of tech wealth that was born out of artificial intelligence. Whether that is a story with a happy ending for everyone depends a great deal on the choices made by communities, policymakers, and individuals in the years ahead. But one thing is certain. This is not a trend you want to ignore. If you found this video useful, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. We break down the big economic stories that affect your everyday life in plain language, and we would love to have you as part of this community. Share this with someone you know who has been watching what is happening to housing prices and wondering why. The more people understand these forces, the better positioned everyone is to navigate them.